Have you ever felt there's a hidden reservoir of power inside you, one that could reshape your life if you only knew how to tap it? So many people talk about willpower, usually in the context of fighting cravings or sticking to daily routines. But what if the real story of willpower is far more dramatic? Imagine harnessing an inner force so potent it could transform every obstacle into an opportunity. Some call it conscious will. Others see it as faith in action. Regardless of the label, one thing's certain. Its impact on success, fulfillment, and peace of mind is nothing short of extraordinary. Intriguingly, there's also plenty of debate surrounding this topic. Critics argue that overstating willpower can slip into toxic positivity, ignoring real struggles like mental health, systemic injustice, or plain old bad luck. Yet countless success stories, ranging from renowned musicians to self-made entrepreneurs, claim that at least part of their triumph comes from mastering the invisible power of directed intention. Today, we'll explore these controversies and reveal the deeper layers of conscious will, how it interacts with our thoughts, why fear can sabotage it, how failure actually boosts it, and why real fulfillment doesn't start or end with material gains. By the end, you'll see why so many believe that shifting your mindset and channeling your will can alter the very course of your life. The hidden influence of habitual thoughts. Close your eyes and think about your very first thought this morning. Was it something like, "Ugh, I'm so tired," or "This day might be amazing"? It sounds trivial, but these initial thoughts can set the tone for everything that follows. Many spiritual teachings suggest that your mental habits, those repetitive loops of worry, hope, fear, or confidence, work like a magnet. They attract circumstances that match your subconscious expectations. If you dwell on negativity, you may start noticing only the obstacles in front of you. But if you remain watchful for possibilities, surprising doors often swing open at just the right moment. This idea can feel empowering, but it can also stir controversy. Psychologists warn that simply thinking positive might be too simplistic, especially for those dealing with anxiety, depression, or trauma. They argue that real healing and long-term change often require professional guidance, supportive communities, and consistent emotional work, alongside a strong mindset. Still, success coaches maintain that positivity is more than wishful thinking. It's a daily discipline. They encourage simple habits like journaling about gratitude or mentally rehearsing positive outcomes. According to this view, consistent, constructive thoughts can literally rewire your brain, priming you to make better decisions and seize emerging opportunities. Of course, the conversation doesn't end with thought alone. While positive thinking can be life-changing, it can also fizzle out without a powerful engine to propel it into action. Which begs the question, what exactly drives these mental habits to produce tangible results? How do they shift from nice ideas into undeniable reality? The answer lies in something far more potent and direct, a phenomenon often referred to as willpower. But before we get there, keep in mind that no amount of repeated affirmations will matter unless they're backed by consistent emotional energy and intention. Unpacking the force of will, mechanical versus conscious. Have you ever gone through a day on autopilot, getting dressed, commuting, responding to emails, only to realize you barely remember any details? That's an example of mechanical will, or unconscious willpower. You're performing tasks, sure, but there's no deep engagement or purposeful decision behind them. It's as though your body is on one track and your mind is lost in another. Contrast that with conscious will, often described as a directed, dynamic force rooted in determination. When you summon conscious will, you aren't just operating out of habit, you're choosing your actions with crystal clarity and unwavering resolve. Legendary innovators, athletes, and spiritual luminaries frequently talk about tapping into this energy. They describe moments when everything clicks, and suddenly, challenges feel surmountable, even thrilling. This is where passion meets perseverance, where the grind transforms into a meaningful pursuit. Of course, not everyone sees willpower as a magic bullet. Some critics point out that attributing all success to personal will can overlook structural issues like poverty, discrimination, or mental illness. They emphasize that while dynamic will is vital, it often flourishes in environments where people have at least some baseline stability or support. Others argue that focusing solely on willpower can make people blame themselves for external challenges they have little control over. The counterpoint is that conscious will can help us adapt, persevere, and even challenge these structural barriers in more effective ways. After all, many social activists fueled their missions by harnessing a burning, unshakable will to fight injustice. The lesson here is that conscious will is like a powerful tool. It won't fix everything by itself, but it can magnify your capacity to succeed, resist injustice, or break free from negative cycles. When guided by wisdom and compassion, conscious will becomes an unstoppable ally, ensuring that your actions align with your deepest goals instead of mindless routine. Fear, the great energy drain. Think about the times you felt frozen by indecision. You might have wanted to start a business, switch careers, leave a toxic relationship, or pursue a dream, but fear crept in, whispering all the ways it could go wrong. Fear is incredibly persuasive. It hijacks your imagination, painting worst-case scenarios so vividly that you lose sight of the potential benefits. Psychologists sometimes compare fear to a protective mechanism gone haywire, a survival instinct that overreacts in the modern world. Too often, it drains our mental energy, leaving us too exhausted or demotivated to take meaningful steps forward. Religious and spiritual traditions often counter fear with faith. They suggest that fear arises when we forget our connection to something bigger, be it God, the universe, or even humanity at large. Yet skeptics raise valid concerns. Telling someone to just have faith can feel dismissive if they're battling crippling anxiety or dealing with real, life-threatening circumstances. The balanced view acknowledges that fear is a natural part of the human experience. Rather than denying it, we can learn to look it in the eye, evaluate its message, and then decide if it's truly protecting us or just holding us back. Interestingly, many high achievers say that even if they feel fear, they practice moving forward anyway. Their mantra becomes, "I see the fear, but my vision is stronger." Some call this courage, but it's also a testament to the power of directed will. When your mind is centered on a clear, heartfelt objective, fear eventually shrinks. It can't dominate you if your conviction that you're doing the right thing, or that you'll learn something valuable no matter the outcome, overshadows your doubts. In essence, fear's grip weakens dramatically when you refuse to give it the steering wheel of your life. Failure as a catalyst for growth. We've all heard the cliche that failure is the best teacher. But how many times have you had a personal setback, and instead of feeling enlightened, you just felt devastated? Failure can be crushing in the moment. Your dreams seem out of reach, and you may even question your own competence or worth. Yet if we look more closely at some of the world's most resilient individuals, they almost always credit their failures for a significant part of their achievements. It's not that they enjoyed failing, rather, they learned to extract lessons, refine their approach, and double down with renewed vigor. This doesn't mean we should romanticize hardship. Some forms of failure come with serious emotional or financial consequences that can't be minimized. Critics of the fail-forward mentality warn that persistent failure, if never adequately addressed, can erode self-esteem and stability. That said, it's often about how you process the failure. Do you see it as confirmation that you just weren't good enough? Or do you analyze what went wrong, refine your methods, and continue relentlessly? There's also a delicate line between healthy perseverance and stubborn refusal to adapt. Real growth after failure requires introspection. What mistakes did I make? What can I change next time? Did I misunderstand the goal, or do I simply need more skill or knowledge? This type of questioning can redirect your willpower onto a better trajectory, ensuring that each stumble teaches you how to step more confidently. Paradoxically, once you've confronted and moved past a major failure, you often find yourself braver, smarter, and far less prone to the same pitfalls. In that sense, your failures transform into building blocks for a far more solid foundation of success. Aligning human will with a higher purpose. Imagine carrying a heavy load of personal goals, earning more money, getting a bigger house, securing a prestigious job title. Now imagine that same striving, but with an added dimension. You're doing it not just for personal gain, but to serve some greater vision. Maybe you dream of improving your community, or maybe you sense a spiritual calling to uplift those around you. This alignment of human will with a higher, altruistic, or spiritual purpose is often what separates fleeting accomplishments from truly transformative legacies. Historically, visionaries like Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, or countless unsung heroes have attributed their strength to something beyond their individual selves. Some label it divine guidance, others call it cosmic consciousness. Critics, meanwhile, question whether referencing a higher purpose can sometimes lead to fanaticism or justify questionable actions. After all, many harmful movements have also claimed spiritual backing. This is why introspection and discernment are crucial. Alignment must flow from empathy, humility, and a genuine desire to benefit others, not from ego-driven fantasies. Done thoughtfully, uniting your will with a meaningful cause yields immense energy. Tasks that once seemed tedious can take on new life. Obstacles become stepping stones when you're convinced your efforts serve a larger blueprint. Interestingly, psychologists note that having a sense of purpose correlates with better mental health, higher levels of motivation, and greater resilience under stress. When you believe your actions matter, you're far more likely to persevere. It's not just about chasing personal success anymore. You're fulfilling what you view as your sacred duty or higher calling. In that state, many report feeling more joyous, alive, and consistent in their pursuits. Meditation, concentration, and the flow of energy. If conscious will is the horsepower fueling your life's journey, then meditation and concentration are the fine-tuning mechanisms that keep your engine running smoothly. Meditation can be as simple as focusing on your breath for a few minutes or as elaborate as following a deeply structured spiritual practice. At its core, it's about training your attention to stay present, calmly observing thoughts instead of being swept away by them. This practice builds mental clarity, improving your ability to harness and direct willpower effectively. Scientists have found that regular meditation can bring observable changes to the brain, such as increased density in areas associated with emotional regulation and empathy. However, not everyone is convinced. Skeptics argue that meditation has been overly commercialized, sold as a cure-all for everything from stress to insomnia to financial issues. True enough, meditation won't magically solve external problems like unpaid bills or toxic relationships. But it can grant you the calm focus needed to tackle these challenges more resourcefully. The real power lies in the synergy between a still mind and a clear goal. When you emerge from meditation, you often have a quieter mental space, making it easier to identify the most effective actions. Some entrepreneurs swear by a morning meditation routine, claiming it leads to creative breakthroughs or uncanny moments of intuition where they just know the right move. Spiritual teachers, on the other hand, emphasize the deeper potential. The idea that when you connect with the stillness in your core, you also connect with a universal intelligence, or divine mind, where solutions and inspirations flow more freely than from mere intellectual effort alone. Finding true success beyond the material. Can you name a celebrity or high-powered executive who seemed to have every material comfort, only to reveal later that they felt empty or unfulfilled? It's a common pattern. Whether you're living in a small apartment or a grand mansion, if your inner world is turbulent, no amount of external achievement will bring lasting happiness. True success, many argue, means integrating both outer success, like financial security, recognition, and accomplishment, with an inner state of peace and contentment. We're often taught to judge success by conventional markers. How big your salary is, the brand of your car, the prestige of your job title. Yet spiritual traditions have long warned that these pursuits, while not evil in themselves, can become traps if they overshadow the cultivation of values like compassion, gratitude, and self-awareness. As social media saturates our lives, the definition of success can skew even further toward likes, follows, and superficial accolades, but a growing movement challenges these norms. Psychologists studying eudaimonic well-being point out that meaning and a sense of contribution to society may bring a deeper, more persistent happiness than material gain alone. Similarly, spiritual adepts highlight how aligning your will with compassionate service might yield a fulfillment that no trophy or bank balance can match. This isn't to say money or recognition doesn't matter. Rather, it's about viewing them as tools to support a life of genuine well-being, for yourself and those around you. Thought-provoking note. So, where does this journey leave us? We began with the premise that inside you lies a quiet but formidable power, one capable of dissolving limitations, rewiring your thoughts, and steering your life in extraordinary ways. We explored how habitual thinking can either sabotage or supercharge your progress, how conscious will amplifies your capacity to act, and how fear can drain you unless you confront it head-on. We examined failure not as a final verdict, but as a catalyst for deeper insight and resilience. We also looked at the controversies, from toxic positivity, concerns to the skepticism around meditative practices. Through it all, one theme stands out. The synergy of directed will, clear thought, and alignment with a meaningful purpose can produce transformative outcomes. Think of it this way. You are the author of your own story, but the ink is your willpower, and the pages are each day of your life. Which chapter will you write next? Will fear continue to steer the plot, or will you reclaim the pen and draft a more uplifting narrative? The choice is yours, and it starts with recognizing the power you already carry, refining your mindset through conscious reflection, and channeling your energy toward what truly matters to you and to the world around you. Take a moment to reflect on these questions. Are you fully aware of the hidden force within your own mind? How might your life change if you harnessed it more deliberately? If these ideas spark even a small flame of curiosity or determination, then you're already on the path to discovering a power beyond what you once believed possible. Nurture it, align it with a genuine higher purpose, and watch how your reality begins to transform. The path won't always be smooth or easy, but it can be incredibly fulfilling, challenging you to become the most dynamic, resilient, and compassionate version of yourself. That's the secret many overlook. True power doesn't come from outside blessings, luck, or other people's opinions. It comes from the quiet, persistent energy of your own will, shaped and sharpened by conscious thought and purposeful intent. And once you realize that, you're free to step into a life of clarity, direction, and authentic success, one choice, one moment, one unwavering act of will at a time.